Hello everyone, it's SUNLU Creations here. Today we're going to be talking about the electronics of the Stormbreaker. We're going to be driving all those wires down from the axis all the way to the stump where the batteries are, and it's going to be so much fun. Remember, you have to do this step by step. Be careful what you do, watch it carefully, because it's going to be really important. And without further ado, let's get started. So here we have the first component of the tutorial. It's going to be a JST connector with 3 pins. We're going to use it to connect the ARCs part of the electronics to the handle part of the electronics. This connector is formed by 3 little pins, one for the positive, one for the negative, and one for the data. And we can just connect it and disconnect it just like so, really easy. So this allows us just to be able to detach the whole handle from the head of the Stormbreaker. So it really comes in handy. Let's bring our helping hands back, and I'm going to measure the distance that we need, or the length of these wires. So we have to keep in mind that we have to allow for a little bit of room in order for these wires to be pushed in and be bent a little bit, so we can always detach it, because if we just kept the same length, we'll never be able to detach it. Because these are red, black and white. The black is going to be the negative, and the white is going to be attached to this green one. So it's going to be the same one, okay? We have to measure the length of the neck plus the length of the portion that's coming out of this handle piece and belongs to the smoke machine, and this length is going to be the amount of space that is created when we disconnect both parts of the handle, the big one and the vines, and therefore it's like the room we have to be able to get our tweezers in and disconnect this connector. So this is the length plus this plus a little bit of space. So I'm thinking something around like this. We need it to be thin because it needs to go all the way into the neck, into the space that is right here. Like a little box of space in there, and it needs to like gather and curl and twist in there. So now we just solder it to the tree. So this is our smoke machine. It's just a chloromizer and an air pump connected in parallel, and the 2.5 inches smoke tube that goes into the tip of the chloromizer. Now this is going to go up into the neck, and that's going to be a pressure fit, so we don't have to worry about any of the vapors going anywhere other than up. So we are going to have to take this and measure the distance between this and the heart, approximately 65 centimeters long or 32 inches. Okay, just going to cut it and drive all through the handle piece by piece. A quick little note for you guys: if you can tell, there is a piece of text embedded here on the walls of the smoke machine. This represents the lungs of the axe, and also the ability that we have to just sit back, relax whenever we make a mistake. We just have to breathe, feel, aspire, inspire. Breathe and feel, we make a mistake, and aspire and inspire when we know for sure that we have to set a new goal in order to have success. So in other words, when we make a mistake, we just sit back, relax, alright, and then think how we can overcome this issue or this problem. And once we've done that, we'll realize that we can also inspire others to do the same with their troubles, with their issues. We can also aspire to be better with each obstacle we overcome. So now we want to pull the black wire through and snip it. It also helps if you previously number all the parts of the handle so you don't get lost and you possibly don't glue something that doesn't fit or doesn't belong there. We're going to glue both the smoke machine to the case and the case to the handle with some epoxy glue. Hang on guys, hang on. Before you glue the smoke machine to the handle, we have to cut around 1 meter or so both black and red wires. And this is going to be for the main circuit, for the brain. Okay? So don't forget that, because then if we glue this first, it's going to be very, very tricky to pass this all the way down and kind of get it out through here. So I'm just going to do it before that. Becomes kind of tricky. And also around 80 centimeters or 31 inches of the green wire. That's going to be for the potentiometer. We can't forget that. All 3 wires have to go through this. Now they have to tag this label. Otherwise I'm going to get confused. No, we're not going to glue this part. Why? Because I want these to show up if we dismantle it, and also because we're going to use this hole, remember? Pull from this side and see which one doesn't move. Okay, so this is the one from the smoke machine. Now we have to take this one and pull it up to reveal it. and this is when we're going to attach the smoke machine. And number 3 happens to be this one. We have to solder each of these 3 to each of the 3. Through. That kind of deal. Okay, now the other one, which is easy. Okay. Where is it? Here. Then we're gonna have to glue one by one. Okay. And now we have to, as you can see, I have cut all these wires, and we have 2 of each color, right? We have the red, which is the positive, the black, which is the negative, and then we have the green. The green, okay, we had to pull it all the way out. So we don't need that extra bit that goes down, because it's not going to go anywhere. The green wire comes down from the Arduino and stops at the potentiometer, because what it does is just sends a signal every bit to the Arduino telling it which animation has to run. So the green wire, in other words, comes from the potentiometer to the Arduino. So why have it go all the way down? And this is why I cut it at the end, okay? Just in case it was a bit too confusing, I've decided to add a little note here. And then we have our potentiometer. This is a donut that you see here. We're going to have to glue it later on. So the long one, remember, is for the hard, for the main battery, and the short ones for the smoke machine. I think it's time for bed. What do you say? Yeah. Now remember that at the beginning of the video we soldered a JST connector to the 3 wires coming down from the head of a Stormbreaker, right? We're going to do the same, but with the opposite connector. This time we're going to solder it to the 3 wires coming up from the handle, and it's going to allow us to connect it to the rest of the axe, obviously. And that's it, guys. All the connections of the handle of a Stormbreaker are done. This is how I did it. Okay, we're going to be gluing these pieces later on, but we have the battery for the smoke machine here, we have the battery for the LEDs for the circuit, and if I plug those in, you're going to see that the LEDs turn on with the lightning animations. There we are. And also we have the momentary button, remember, for the smoke machine. So it's right here, and if we press it, we're going to see that smoke starts coming out, and it is going to be a lot of smoke. And I'm so proud of how all this turned out. So clean, and there you have it, so much smoke. And it's exactly what we need, guys. So without further ado, let's clean it over and start gluing the pieces together. Alright, but before we do that, I'm going to cut these off and put the batteries away. Since we're going to be painting and gluing the handle, we don't want all these things to be in our way. We're going to cut a round aluminium rod that is 8mm wide, and we're going to cut it in 4 pieces. You can see the length here on the screen, and also you can see where they're positioned. And the function of these rods is just to strengthen the handle. And once we're done cutting them, we're going to slide them in between the pieces of the handle just to make sure that they're there before we glue the pieces. By the way, huge shout out to Feroga. This is the company that gave me all these materials to make the mold of my last version of the Stormbreaker. And it turned out great, and their products are just amazing. They're the main suppliers of these kinds of products in Spain, and yeah, huge shout out to them, and to Jorge, and to Fernando, and to Luis. Everyone there is awesome. So I'm going to use also some product they gave me, which is marble dust, and I'm just going to add a little bit to thicken the glue, and also to make the curing process a bit slower. So I'm just going to throw in a little bit of that. In it goes, and now I can start mixing that one. Right here we can connect the battery pack, and that'll be fine. But all this, when we put the battery pack inside, has to go all the way up. The less we make this curl and push in, the better. We have to be able to do that with this. So if this kind of pulls in, it's going to block the way, and it is not going to be able to. So that's what's important about this. So maybe I can curl them a little bit more, just like that, and that'll help me. Whoop. And now boom, there we have it. And now that we have this, we do the same with these ones, but not through the hole. Now that I think about it, we just have to pull out the black one, which is for the negative pole, which is going to be attached to both ends of the switch. Back. Hold it with our hands. There we go. Before we do that, I'm going to glue this. Why? Because if I don't, then I'm not going to be able to pull this back and then glue it back in. Glued pretty well. It's totally even, and that's exactly why it's going to fit. perfectly to a T. Now again, so we kind of look for this reference, which is here. This one in this case, this one. And now, okay, perfect. So now if we turn it on, it does light up, as you can see. Oh, yes. God. Oh, Jesus. 2 years for this, guys, 2 years. And that is it for today, guys. Did you like it? Let me know. Drop a comment down below. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. All that stuff. And yeah, if you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram at Henry Creations. And if you want to build this for yourself, remember you have all the files down below in my Etsy store. And also you can get the 60-page book where I talk about everything there is to this project. So you just want to buy it for yourself to use it as motivations to build your own projects and your own props. So be it. And yeah, until next time, guys, remember, always get creative.